idea
Can we
of city
turn then
regeneration.
To a very much a local question for Greater Manchester, one of congestion charging, and it's been emailed to us again by the Chamber and a number of viewers and readers. What's your position on road pricing policy? We may well end up with a congestion charge here in Greater Manchester to leverage the £3 billion through the TIF fund. That's still in debate. But if you were Prime Minister, what would you do about road pricing? Would you introduce a national road pricing policy?
No. National road pricing policy, no. I don't believe in having some satellite in the sky charging us all every time we get into our car. But if local councils and city councils want to introduce road pricing policies, that should be a matter for them. We've got to get away from this idea that the man or the woman in Whitehall and Westminster knows everything. They don't. Let people in Manchester decide.
But isn't that really a bit of a cop-out?
No, why?
Well, because putting it back to local politicians and local authorities means that we are inevitably going to set up conflict between local authorities and national government. Some areas will have congestion charging, some areas won't.
What is wrong with that?
A uniform policy that applies to everybody so that we all know that if we enter certain cities or use certain motorways, we may have to pay at certain times?
I don't think there should be. I believe in democracy. I think that people in Manchester should be able to decide. Yes, there is always a conflict. There'll be some people against and some people in favour, but it should be for local people to make that decision.
But it'll just be a mishmash. It'll be a situation where, say, if Manchester decided to have a congestion charge, surely all of our businesses would just move to Leeds, where there wouldn't be one.
Well, that then is part of the decision you have to make. Do you think, this is what happened in London, we have a congestion charge in London, it was introduced by the mayor, lots of people don't like it, some people do like it, but it hasn't driven business away to another city. I think it's right that these decisions are made locally. Do you really want a politician to sit in Westminster to sort of decide where you're going to have congestion charging around the country? I think that would be a crazy...
A lot of the argument from business now is that Manchester should not actually have to introduce a congestion charge, that this should be part of a national policy, that Manchester should not effectively be isolated by yet another city that it's hard to get into, which could damage business, that there should be a policy across the country that would be applied centrally from government, and that would be a much more fair and level playing field, that everybody knew the rules then.
I don't think that's right. I think what business in Manchester should do is get involved locally in the debate, and if they don't like the current bunch of local politicians they've got running Manchester, do you know what they can do? Vote them out. That's what democracy is about. And I think that's why actually elected mayors are such a good idea.